Hey, Miguel here, Singingtree Flutes. I would like to share a bit with you today about accompaniment, playing flutes with other instruments. And one of the key things I want to talk about here is understanding that woodwinds, wood flutes, other wooden instruments, when they're cool, when they're colder, they are going to play flat of the pitch that they are once they're warmed up. That's something to always keep in mind with woodwind instruments. And so in playing with other people for a lot of the years, figuring that out, I've realized that oftentimes when I first pick up a flute and it's dead on 440, when I first play it, it's going to play flat of 440. And so that can be a problem, say if you're playing with a piano or a guitarist is everybody's tuned up to 440 and you just pick up your flute and you know it's in C minor, everybody's playing in C minor, but it sounds a little off, you know. And what I've found is a lot of times that when I first play a flute, I have to kind of wail on it, play it harder than it wants to be played to bend the pitch back up to 440 until the flute is warmed up. Then I can relax on it a bit. So what I've learned to do for myself when I make myself a musical instrument, or oftentimes when I'm making 440 pitch flutes in the workshop, I tend to tune them a few cents sharp of 440. And that way, say on a soft blow, on a relaxed breath, I'm playing in 440 on a gentle breath. Medium breath, it's pushing up to 442, 445 hertz or something like that. That way when it's cold, I don't have to wail on the flute in order to get it to play in key with the piano I'm playing with or any pre-tuned instrument. Of course, on any given moment, if you're playing with a guitar, it's good to double check and have the guitarist tuned down to the wooden instrument that can't be retuned on the spot. That's always something you can do too. Keeping those things in mind, but again, one of my solutions that I do is I'll tune my flutes sharp of 440, slightly sharp, because my experience tells me if I have a flute that's slightly flat and I'm trying to play that with an instrument, it's very distinctly off in my ear and it does not sound good to me. But if it's slightly sharp, you know, the flute is made to dance over. It's usually the sort of solo instrument that dances over some rhythmic instruments or some melodic instruments. And if you're just playing with drummers and you just want to play to a beat, you know, boom, 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 and just practice playing to rhythm, that's cool, and you don't really need to be in tune with that per se and it'll sound good. Guitar kind of have to be in tune, you know. But like I was saying, if it's slightly sharp, it kind of dances over the melody and it's okay. And you know, you can bend notes and stuff to be a little sharp, and it can be an added element, and it sounds way, way nicer than if it was a little bit flat. So I've learned that, and I know that my ear is good enough to, if I'm a little bit sharp and I can hear that, I just relax on the flute a little bit and just play a little bit more gently, and that works for me. So there's all sorts of instruments that you can play with. Most of the accompany that I do these days is with myself, because I use a looper and I'll play the didgeridoo and I'll loop that. I'll play the hand pans and I'll loop that. I have a few sitting here next to me here, and I do that. And another thing to keep in mind is that say you were at a party and everybody was playing music and you had a batch of flutes with you, you know, maybe quietly in the corner or whatever, as they're playing a song, you can pick up a few flutes and just listen and see, oh, that one really sounds like it goes good. Or you can, you know, if you do your studying or if you're a musician, you can say, hey, well, what key are you playing in? And so, you know, first off, we might have to play some accompaniment with my furnace because I hear it kicking on a little bit. So just ignore that. But, you know, if someone's, say, playing in an E minor, you could have an E minor flute that would sound good with it. You could also have a B minor flute that would sound good with it. You could also potentially play an A minor flute that was with that. So if you have the time or a little bit of space, you can just be in the corner and just experiment with, say if you're wanting to play with someone that has written songs, they're already made, and they may not even know what key. Just, you know, play around with the scale a little bit, see what sounds good, and certain ones will lock in. I'll do a demo here of a handpan loop that I had already made, so I don't have to loop it on the spot here, but I already made a loop. There's about 3 layers of a handpan, and it's a more fast rhythm, and it's in C minor. And I'll do a few different demonstrations how I can take a Native American tune, C minor, drone, flute, and play that with the C minor handpan. I can also play a G minor with this handpan as well, and I think that's a third of the scale. I can also play an F minor, C minor, a fifth, which is this note here. That's the fifth of the scale, the third note open, 1, 2, 3. That is an F, so an F minor harmonizes. That should go good. So what I'll show you is that I can play with the handpan in C here. I can play C minor, low C minor, high C minor, Aeolian minor, or the other. So I'll play a C minor, low C minor. I'll play a G minor, and I'll also demonstrate on an F Aeolian minor, and that sounds beautiful too. So, and this one here that I'll start with, this loop, is a real fast, faster melody. And what I want to show you is, you know, just because there's a fast melody doesn't mean you can't play a meditative flute song over the top of a fast melody. You know, that's, you know, I'm a real rhythmic person, so I can feel and hear different flavors, different ways of playing flute to what's being played. Sometimes there could be a slower melody that I play all sorts of fast riffs over the top, but some people might be nervous to approach a faster melody song, say, and play flute over the top. And so I'm going to turn on my looper, and I will fade it up so you can hear. So that's a pretty fast melody right there. And I'll play this C minor, and I'll play it just relaxed over the top of it. Yeah, so you can see how that works. And I'll switch over on my little looper here to a different one that I already did with the handpan there. And we'll try, say, a G. And what I noticed on the G, this particular one, you have to really, you know, a lot of this is about an ear. You know, yeah, you can get away with playing decent music just by saying, hey, you're playing an A minor, okay, I'm playing an A minor, let's keep it easy. But with your ear, you really have to pay attention. And what I noticed when I play this handpan, it's in C, but the lowest note's actually a G, and I can play a G really well on there too. But what I noticed is on the G, oftentimes some of the sweeter notes to actually stop and pause and land on is that cross finger note, that half step. So let's see what we got here. So if I play something like this with this handpan, it tends to go pretty well. And that's just from, you know, just listening and discovering, ooh, that sounds good, that's locking in nice. And so I'll try that here. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. All right, I'm not sure what this is going to happen, so let's see. See if we're still in C, because I have a couple other things here. Yep. No, that's not C, that's B. Hey, so let's just go with it. So this is a B, this is a B rav drum. Had this recorded on there too. And you see how that's a nice slow rhythm? This is one of my all-time favorites. I should have saved this for a special day. I have this B drone here. It goes great with this. Let's see if I have it in my pocket. I also have a mouth harp that I'd play is really nice with this. Pretty cool, huh? Like those two together a lot. So this is getting pretty long. We'll continue with another video in a little bit here.